Okay, did I fix it now? Come on, Dave, give me some good news. Anybody? Are we live? Melissa, Facebook, pay attention.
I know,
Oh my
right?
gosh, it doesn't even allow me to test it either, but
Right.
I know that my settings were bad.
There, I can hear it now. Yep, it's up there.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we don't need anybody to comment back. Okay, Dave's got this. Okay, we're a go. Okay, so I got to start
Okay.
this all over again. How embarrassing.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
Maybe Nikki will jump on because Nikki's going to download it, so she might be on there too.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, live from Caldwell, Idaho, exposing fake news wherever it exists. Your host Tom Munns. Yay! All right, so today I have with me some family members that have decided that they wanted to be able to share with you what they witnessed today at the Indian Creek area in Caldwell, where the news was. Well, I wanted to be able to go into before I. So I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself if you want to do that again, please, if you can still
Okay.
remember.
Yep, I'm Dina McConnell, Tom's sister-in-law.
I'm Taylor Powell, his niece.
I'm Kristen McConnell.
And you guys are actually going to admit you're my relative. Oh, this is a beautiful moment.
It's okay.
Can I see the violins and the awe on Facebook, please? Please give me those
Yes,
comments. Anyway, so as you guys know, I've been rabble rousing for a long time, trying to expose the truth wherever it exists. I drive my family members crazy. You guys can all go yes. And so I did want to do a recap on something that I found out yesterday before we actually go into this. Is that I also have another family member, God help Caldwell, where they actually are currently experiencing a temperature of about 100, 101, sore throat, really nothing more than that. I believe that they're awaiting testing and getting the results. But something that was really interesting when they went to get tested, and what the health department actually told them is if this person that's being tested, is positive, everybody in your family now is being considered positive. So as we're talking about the sort of arbitrary, weird sort of numbers that's happening, what I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is not only is the Department of Health and Welfare and the Southwest District Health tyrannical, out of control, unelected bureaucratic agencies, now they continue to fudge the numbers to the point now where my family members that are not even considered I mean, have you guys really considered yourself like real activists or anything?
Nope.
No? Just
No.
like regular people, right? So
Yep.
they're calling BS on the issue, and I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're here with me. And so Channel 2, I believe, was out at Indian Creek, and I wanted my family to have a platform to be able to share exactly with you what they saw. So Dina, would you mind sharing what you guys saw, and you guys can elaborate and fill
Yep,
in wherever you feel like it?
I will. I'll start because I first noticed it. Me and the girls, my daughter and my daughter-in-laws, went to the Indian Creek Plaza, the splash pad, right? That's what it's called, to let the kids play. And we were there 5, 10 minutes, and I noticed right away a group of women wearing masks because, mind you, nobody there, including us, had masks on. There was kids, parents, like a children's community center.
And you have pictures of
And
this, right?
yeah, I got pictures of it, and it was so obvious. These 4 women with masks on, standing off, kind of around a garbage can, and it was obvious that that was weird. It was kind of like a sore thumb, you know. And I told the girls, something's up, something's weird. I don't just pay attention. Let's see. So about 20 minutes later, we decided to kind of break it up. There more kids came. It was getting crowded, and the kids. We went over to set the table to eat lunch. About that time, I noticed two people come up with a video, and I'm assuming it was maybe a news station. And I thought, oh, here we go. And I said, well, I'll be exiting because if they get me on TV, I mean, I don't articulate my words very well, and especially if I'm very passionate about things I'm against. And I thought it's probably best I exit. So I did, and then I'll let the girls kind of tell you. But I watched from a distance, mind you. I could see what was going on. I stayed over by the car.
Yeah, once you did leave, we did notice the news lady or whoever she was going to interview kind of immediately all and these group of Max women, they just kind of like all of a sudden like just went up right up to these news station people like it was
As if it was
planned.
planned. Like you could tell they didn't
Like they were waiting for them.
Right.
to set.
You
And
can tell they're like, oh, there's the camera.
Yeah,
Let's
they're-
walk over.
like they all knew each other, like they were purposely there, and that seemed a little off. And then
Very
shortly,
staged.
very staged, you could kind of feel it. You're like, this isn't normal.
Yeah.
This wasn't like some random setting, anything like that. And then after they were done interviewing the women that were wearing a mask, the news station woman went up to the table that had two gentlemen sitting there. Mind you, neither of these gentlemen wore a mask.
At any
And
time, the whole time we were there, they had
No,
no masks on.
nobody else had a mask on except for that group of women. So these gentlemen, they weren't wearing a mask, and you could tell she was asking if these gentlemen would interview. And you could tell one of the younger ones got up to go over to the camera and to interview, and right before he got in front of the camera, he put a mask on, which to me felt really odd. If he's willing to be out open in the public,
Yeah.
not wearing a mask, but he will go on camera to wear
Wearing
a mask. That seemed a little weird. And then as soon as he was done interviewing, he walked away and took his mask off
and sat back down.
and sat back down.
Unbelievable. The
And then
emperor's got no
witnessed
clothes.
Yeah, and then I witnessed this same lady over there interviewing some other women sitting there with no masks on, and I thought, oh, she's asking questions. I just assumed what she was asking. And right after that, I saw her walk up to Kristen, and I'll let Kristen take over because then she interviewed Kristen.
Yeah, and I too kind of noticed that this woman was walking around and looked like she was interviewing a few of the people sitting there. And as she approached us, she was really kind, and she introduced herself and let us know that she's with Channel 2 News. But she went in to ask how we felt if the mask mandate went ahead and moved into Caldwell, and wanted a response about that. And I just went in and said that I don't think it's necessary. I think given the amount of misleading information that has been published regarding this virus has told me that it's not something to be as fearful about, especially wearing a mask. And that's basically what I left it at. And she just took my reply and then asked if I would be comfortable saying that same thing over the news, and I declined. We were honestly just getting ready to leave anyways, but I just know that typically with a news network, unfortunately, they like to catch you at the best time for them and ultimately make you look stupid. So
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be the one volunteering to put my face out on the news.
Oh, so Kristen, so I didn't put you up to saying that, did I? Because some
No.
people would accuse me of the fact. Have I put any of you up to say any of the stuff that you've said?
No, let me tell you. Today I told the girls I'm going to go call Tom because I want to share this with him because we hadn't really personally experienced other than your day-to-day stuff. We feel like we're out there not wearing our masks, but this was something that was very staged, and I really want to see what Channel 2 News will do with it.
Yeah,
I did.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I too thought that it was a choice location for them to come to a area that was crowded that day. Normally it's not crowded like it was. And it was mostly groups out there with larger numbers of children with them. And there was absolutely not one person wearing a mask besides the group from the news network that arrived at just the most perfect time. And I don't know, it's unfortunate that it has to come to that,
Right.
Yeah, and another thing I would add in there too is because as I was leaving myself, I did notice slowly you would see more and more people wearing masks, and it was people without children. They were not there to have their children play in the water. Just slowly more people with masks were then starting to slowly come in and sit down at these tables. And I took my daughter to the bathroom, and as I was coming out, all of a sudden I just noticed these groups of people like starting to eye me, and all of a sudden I was like, why do all of a sudden I feel like there's a ton of people wearing masks that just randomly showed up at this perfect time that this news station is here?
Yeah.
So you could tell it was a very staged event. This wasn't something that was random.
Wow, that's so awesome, you guys. And so we're joined by Nikki too, right?
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Nikki.
This family
Hi,
reunion.
difficulty, sorry.
I got a group hug, right? This is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nikki. You can introduce yourself now.
Hi, I'm Nikki McConnell. I'm married to Tom's nephew.
Oh, you guys are so
So.
great. Exposing it all right there on video. It's just amazing.
Hey.
Well, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thank you guys for being real, and that's what I've always tried to do. So I'm glad that you guys are following suit. That's great. So Nikki, what do you got to add to this whole thing?
Some the things I noticed was what they were all saying, how it just seemed like a very normal day and it was nice. And then a group of people was standing there with masks on that we noticed just appeared out of nowhere. And we thought that's weird. And then all of a sudden the news people started setting up their cameras and stuff. And we're like, whoa, where'd this come from? And then something else that was so weird to me was there was two gentlemen sitting at a table, and she goes up and talks to them. And out of nowhere, one of them stands up and puts a mask on to go talk to the news people, and then removes his mask when he's done to go sit back down. And I was like, what are they doing? And that's just what doesn't make sense to me, because I'm like, if you're really that scared of it and you're going to wear a mask, you need to be wearing it 24/7. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Oh my gosh. So I got a question for you guys. Do you guys have anything more you want to add about that particular topic? If there's something else that comes up, let me know. And I know you guys got kids and all that. You can throw them in the camera too if you want. It's so cute. But anyway, so for me, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like the head conspiracy theorist, right? Or and rabble rouser and that kind of a thing. So people like to call me all kinds of different things that don't really know me. But I actually felt when this whole COVID thing started, I thought it was really serious. So we armed up and we got the necessary stuff that we thought to be able to try to fight this thing. How did you guys feel, since you got young babies and all that stuff? How did you guys feel when you first heard about this? Did you think it was serious, or did you think it was what you think it is now?
What's up?
When we first heard, I think for me, when we first heard that COVID was coming, I mean, I kind of heard about it a couple months, I feel like, prior, because I had a friend who teaches online English to children over in China.
Mm-hmm.
And so she kind of seeing it firsthand happen over there in China. And my first thought was, well, I'd highly doubt that it'd come over here to America. And even once it hit, to be honest, I never felt fearful, because, we go through a cold and flu season every single year. And I just never once felt like it was something to be alarmed about. I never felt it was anything worse than a cold or flu virus.
I was like batten down the hatches, ladies and gentlemen. And for me, it was weird. I mean, I had alternative, media sources that I had trusted. Mike Adams and Natural News has always been legit for me. I think he's even still giving the sort of end of the world scenario about the thing. And it was really bad, because in my effort to try to be able to share the truth with people, I end up being misled by that too, once I had realized the fraud and the numbers, and of course the elements with the Gates Foundation and the CDC's random information and all that. So so it's really cool that you guys were a little more level-headed than I was when I saw it. But boy, I tell you, it wasn't really good for me. So with your friends, you guys have a local business in town, right? I mean, you can plug that if you want.
Well, that's okay. I did.
Okay.
I'm switching gears. I'm actually switching careers now. So doing something different.
Well, if you ever want to talk about that, we can always let people know, because,
Yeah.
I just like to try to help people out wherever I can.
Thank you.
So with your friends and your relatives and stuff, other, I guess other people that how did they feel about this virus, and how did they feel about it now? I mean, there's got to be some a general feeling that you have amongst your friends, right?
Yeah, well, for me, I know Kristen probably has a different take on it because her friends, we've talked about that recently, but most people stand on the side with me. They're all of like minds. And it does seem it's either people are all like that, or I've got an extreme person that's so far out there that you can't even talk to him. So I have to unfriend him, sadly enough. Because
Yeah.
I'm not out there to like cause hate and discontent.
No.
I just thought, well, if it gets to be that bad, obviously we can't be friends. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Kristen, you can share some things.
Yeah. What about you, Kristen?
Yeah, I would say the larger majority of the people that I'm friends with, went to high school with, know personally, or that I've worked with through the years. I would say generally they all have the same opinion as me, but there are those choice few, like I want to say literally 4, that just cannot help themselves, and they get so upset when your opinion does not reflect theirs.
Yeah.
And so they are out for attack and think that they have the right information to share to you, but ultimately it's the wrong information, and I do feel bad for them, but you cannot argue with them.
No, you can't.
Their mind is made up, and I've tried
Mhm.
approaching it kindly, and that doesn't
I'm
work
gonna go.
either. So like Dina, I've had to unfriend a few people just because it's like we obviously do not share a similar mindset and we can't move past it. So
Right. What about you, Nikki?
I would say that my friends and family, I do have a few that I know are for, all with this, but I mostly do have a lot of friends who are so over it and, you know, with me and just we can talk about it. So I'm lucky for that,
Good.
but haven't really had
Well,
to get in fights.
it's amazing for me to be able to know that so many people have linked this to, the possibility of forced vaccinations. That's actually, that's coming out now in the news, and it's, I was, I spend most of my time reading, trying to figure out what's going on and try to expose it to as many people as I can while we know it, which is kind of what we're doing. And none of it is because we have any hatred for anybody else. It's that we want to make sure that people are given the right information. And my argument is that if the government and the media would have given the right information and none of the numbers that we could have, researched on our own as critical thinking human beings would have made sense, I don't think any one of us would have had a problem submitting. But you can't. They keep selling the idea. First you got Fauci and the World Health Organization that says, N95 masks, which are far better than a cloth mask. But neither one of them are appropriate for the kind of thing that they're doing. And so they do from that to mislabeling the definitions of quarantine and isolation to random information to bogus numbers. I mean, there isn't any. It's difficult for me to be able to find out that people actually are not awake, but the good thing is that people are more awake than they ever have, and so we just need to, like I said, put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and make sure that the truth is proclaimed from on high, and that and that the Southwest District Health is exposed for for its agenda and what it's trying to do. So, do you guys have anything more you want to add before we cut off?
I do.
You go
Dina
for
I
it.
does.
just sorry, I had to step. I just want to add that I definitely don't plan on going to any businesses that mandate masks unless,
Yeah.
as long as I can get away with it. Because if like Walmart, if they do, force it, if I go in there and they tell me that, well, I will no longer shop there.
Yeah. Well, I did speak to the public relations person, I think, for the nation for Walmart, and she was very kind. She actually believed, just going along to get along, just believed what the CDC said as gospel. Hasn't done any research on the fact that the masks don't work themselves. I asked her if she could do one thing, and that is just before she sits there and talks about mandating masks for the health of all people, to realize the dangers of actually wearing masks and the fact that they don't work, which is a major inconvenience. And she basically said that she really doesn't have a way to enforce this. And that she will totally allow people to be able to operate under their, under the ADA and HIPAA. Unfortunately, we're not operating under the Constitution, but, where you have the freedom to do whatever, to the liberty to do that. But they have no intent on forcing that. Also, I've spoken with, I should add, I've spoken with many people in law enforcement. They absolutely think this is absolutely ridiculous. I think that the mayor, they think doesn't have the authority to be able to do what it's doing. They think that even if they did have the authority to do it, it would be absolutely difficult to try to enforce. And I think what I'm trying to do now through our Support Your Local Police campaign is to be able to reach out to law enforcement, find out exactly how they feel, because what this is going to do is it's going to put a target on their forehead, and it's going to put us against them, which I believe is what the media would love nothing more than, is to be able to create strife between law enforcement and freedom-loving people. So I appreciate you guys coming on so much. It's so cool to be able to see you guys, and I don't ever see you guys enough, so this is awesome. So if you happen to make it regular and you ever want to talk about stuff and you want to just air out your dirty laundry on my Facebook page is the place to do it. But if you guys don't have anything else, I guess I'll just I'll terminate the interview. So is there anything else you want to add, Nikki, Dina, Taylor, Kristen, anyone?
no, I think you're spot on, Tom. I'm right in line with what your thoughts are. I do think that had this information been more fluid, that was being, immediately released out to the public, that we would have probably taken this more seriously. But the information has gone so overboard from one end to the other that I think most people are waking up and finding that, okay, I'm questioning whether or not this is real. I mean, remember here not that long ago, they were showing air footage of the US Navy ships that were supposedly, plumb full of people completely sick with COVID, or, the refrigerated semi trailers to hold the mass amount of bodies. And,
Yeah, and the citizen
it's just
media,
too, it's
right?
just too bad.
And the citizen media
Yeah,
of people going into hospitals and they're completely empty.
yeah.
It's
That's true.
unbelievable. Yeah, well, don't even get me started on, covert operations like COINTELPRO. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, well, I appreciate you guys from being on. I'd love to stay on longer, but people have a certain attention span, and I don't want to. If they see a video that's 30 minutes long, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't. There he goes again. He's just gonna go off." So I appreciate you guys joining me, and if anything else comes up, let's update the story and keep people posted. Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
definitely.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, you guys.
Thank you, Tom.
See you later. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.